it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. It's great to have you here today. So today I'm doing just, again, lifestyle stuff that I just want to talk about and share with people to help people out and my experiences. And today I'm going to be talking about my husband and I buying and selling / trading in a car on Carvana. So I wanted to just do an overall review of our experience, what we think about it, and how it's gone. So I do have things written out because I want to make sure I get all the good points to help kind of share our knowledge and experience with people so they can make an informed decision in the future for themselves. So I'll just go slowly through this stuff, but if you see me looking down, that is why. So first of all, my husband and I have been looking at cars for probably 6 months or so. We had cars. We had a Mercedes 2009 C300, and we also had a Chevy Spark. That, if you don't know, is like super tiny, but we love just ripping around with it. The issue though coming to Texas was things are apparently bigger here. So everybody has an SUV or a massive truck because of the farming and things like that. And we just felt like we were getting like run over all the time. And it got to the point where there were sometimes we felt very unsafe. And unfortunately, the drivers around here are not the best either. So we've been looking to upgrade and just get us into more comfortable cars that we felt safe in. And I have a very old SUV, a 2004 Mitsubishi Endeavor that I have absolutely loved. My family had one in Canada growing up. And I've had it now for like 8 to 10 years. Bought it cash, it was paid off, and we've just held on to it. But it's kind of kicked the bucket now, and I don't want to pay for a transmission. So we were looking for SUVs. That led us to, of course, the typical, CarMax, the dealership websites, things like that. So we've been looking for months. We narrowed down after several months kind of what we wanted, what we were looking for. My husband's very, very indecisive and doesn't like pulling the trigger on things because he's kind of a very cheap guy. So things stress him out when he spends money, if that makes sense. So we finally decided we wanted SUVs. So we narrowed it down to a BMW X1 or X3 if we could afford one. And then we also were looking at just another type of SUV. Again, maybe a Mitsubishi Outlander. We didn't know, just possibly another type of SUV. And so this is kind of what we narrowed it down. So we've been shopping around. Finally, one night, I'm not kidding you, about a month and a half ago, my husband was just all of a sudden like, wow, hey, I found this awesome X3 on Carvana. And I was like, oh, okay. He kind of always saves a whole bunch of cars, but he'll never pull the trigger. So I was like, oh, okay. And I was like doing dishes. And then all of a sudden he was like showing me because he was actually really interested. So I went and sat down with him, and he was like, this is a really good value, things like that. And it looked great. It had like the leather I like. It's like a burnt brown orange color. It was black. We ended up getting a 2014 X3. And so it was in really good shape, one owner. So we were looking at all the specs on the website. And we decided to buy it. So he goes to click on it to start the process. And all of a sudden it was bought. And he was like kind of mad, and I was like, well, that's what happens when you hesitate, like other people will get it first. And so I don't know, 10 minutes later I went back on to Carvana to shop around, and it said all of a sudden somebody that was buying it stopped buying it, so it was back on there. And so we jumped on it right away and we bought it that night. I'm not kidding you, it was literally, we made the decision, we saw the SUV and bought it within an hour, I'd probably say. So it was a little stressful, but what also helped us was about 5 days before this process, we decided, let's put in our VIN numbers into all of these online car services and see how much our cars are worth and what people will give us. So Vroom, CarMax, Carvana, we went to a dealership as well. So we wanted to price compare because, why wouldn't you? Why would you just take the first offer? So it is true. I would recommend doing that. First of all, we got from Carvana on our Mercedes $3,000 more than the next highest company for the value of our trade-in. So that helped us really push it a little bit more for getting that SUV, because the trade-in value was going to be a really good amount. And so that really helped us kind of push that to get us into a bigger X3. So with that said, they stuck to that 7-day quote, I think they call it. And we didn't have any problems with it. When we went to do our checkout with our car, the amount we got in there, I think it was about $10,200, was applied to our purchase price. So that $10,200 is crazy, because we bought it 3 to 4 years ago and we paid $10,500. So we almost got the amount we got for buying it. So we had the Benz and drove it around for all these years for almost free. So that's why we did it. Anyways, okay. So there is like a free delivery and pickup of your cars, or the car you buy or sell. When I say a free, we found out because we don't live close to a major city, they don't come to us. So pretty much you have to be, I'm going to say around 60 miles, 30, 40, 60 miles within like the main hub cities in your state. So, and you will have to pay for delivery and then go get your car. So keep that in mind. You get a 7-day trial, so you can return the car after 7 days if you do not want it, with like no questions asked. It just has to be under, I think, 400 miles from when you got it. And then there's also like a 3-month, 100-day warranty, where they'll fix anything if something's wrong with it. So how we like did it, I guess, was we decided to buy and also trade in our car at the same time. And so we did the exchange for the Mercedes 2009 C300 for the BMW X3 2014. So it is also, the X3 also is like the M package or sport package. And so that also is just more, we just liked the extra features of it. So our online experience, it was easy to shop their website. So easy. You can type in pretty much anything you're looking for, any car. We usually would just do the BMW. So we would specifically select BMW X1, X3, things like that, or whatever we were looking for. Their pictures and videos of the cars are actually really good and accurate. They'll show you where scrapes are and things like that. I would say there was like one thing on the car that I wouldn't say was in one of the photos. It's not a major big deal, but in general, we were really, really happy when we saw the car, because you don't know what you're buying when you buy it online, unseen and undriven, which I've never done in my life. The selling part of our car was super easy. I would say that online process was, they gave us a quote in literally 2 minutes. Once you put down your VIN, you kind of just put in what the condition of your car is. Ours was in really good condition because we like to keep our cars in good shape. And so that was a really good, easy experience to get an offer. And then they also online gave us, like I said, like $3,000 more than the other ones, like the other places that we were going to be trading it in. So that's why we decided to go with Carvana. Also, there's also, I would say the online process of buying with all the documents was easy. My husband was also, he was just like stressed out with the whole process because he doesn't like spending money. So I ended up technically buying the car for him with his information, but I did all of it online myself. And he just sat there. And so I had to just fill in the regular stuff. Like you have to upload your driver's license front and back. And then I don't know what else you need, like your social and things like that. But in general, the process they give you when you buy the car on the screen was 30 minutes to finish all of your paperwork. Ours was getting really close to the time, and we were freaking out that it was going to give our car back onto the system and somebody else would buy it. So we called them, and the lady that we got from Carvana immediately pulled up our profile, saw what like we really wanted and were like what we were purchasing, I guess. She ended up extending our time. So she ended up doing it for 24 hours. So pretty much it was reserved for us for 24 hours until we could finish the paperwork. We did it that night, but I would say in general it took us about an hour to do it all. That includes though our trade. We had to like upload the title and stuff like that from our car. So I mean, I think it was a pretty fast process. in comparison to a dealership, we bought another SUV at a dealership about 45 minutes from us, and we were at the dealership for over 2 hours waiting to do the paperwork. So it is true, Carvana is a lot faster, and you don't kind of just waste your time in dealerships. But not that we had a bad experience with the car dealership, it just took a long time. Everything is done online, all the documents and things like that, you can print them out. You'll do all the signing through DocuSign. Yeah, it was just an easy process, nothing that we would really complain about there. So then so once we bought the car officially, it took them about 7 days to get the car into San Antonio, because I think it was coming from Florida. So yeah, so they took 7 days to get it there. So we were able to select what day and time upon availability when we wanted to go and pick it up. So we got it the day before New Year's. So December 31st, we decided to drive to San Antonio with our trade-in car and then get the BMW. So we did have to pay though the shipping costs to get the car from Florida to San Antonio, which was about $500 some. And then we had to drive from where we are to San Antonio, which is about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So in general, it's not fun. When they say free delivery, it's only for certain people. But it wasn't bad. I mean, my husband and I got out for the day and we went for a drive and, ended up getting a new car. So that really wasn't bad. And it was on New Year's, so we saw some fireworks on the way home and stuff like that. So it wasn't that bad. So when we got there though, he ended up calling us when we were like 20 minutes outside of town, and we arrived early. We wanted to get there early because we knew we'd be driving in the dark and it was New Year's and things like that. So we ended up telling him, hey, we're actually going to arrive like an hour early. And he said, okay, let me get all the stuff ready. And so when we got there, he had everything printed out and was ready. And that was actually really great. I am not kidding you. We spent 20 minutes at Carvana from the time we pulled up and ended up leaving. So that was fantastic also, because we did our paperwork and everything online. He just quickly had everything printed out. He went over it quickly, asked if we had any questions. We had just a few questions for him. He answered them. And then that's when he gave us our coin, which is a ginormous coin. And it looks exactly like this. This is the one they also give you as a souvenir. These things are actually heavy. Like, this is not like plastic or anything. This is like actual like metal. So anyways, they loaded a coin up and gave it to my husband. And as you can see in the video, he, put in the coin and we kind of watched the whole process happen. So they have a TV that you can watch and see how the car is getting picked and things like that. And my comment to the guy that worked there was, I won't be mad if like a Lamborghini pops out, because we'll take what we get, sometimes. But our actual car came out. I'm assuming there's a chip in there and they kind of load it up that way. But it's a cool experience to see. The keepsake coin is a good, thing to just have, but watching the car kind of come out and come down was also a good experience that you just never see anywhere else. So then the sales rep drove the car out to us in the front, and it looked, like I said, it was great. We were kind of shocked and like, oh no, this is like a bad car. It looked great and things like that. So the other interesting thing was he was kind of like, you can get to know people, within a few minutes, you can kind of get to know people. He could tell like we were just like regular married people with no kids, and we try and just take care of our stuff and things like that. And so when he saw our Benz, he really didn't look it over. He did a quick walk around. He checked to make sure the VIN matched up with the paperwork that we were trading in. I gave him the title, and then he literally jumped in the car, turned it on, and then reversed it out of the parking spot for, I'm not kidding you, probably 2 feet, and then pulled it back in and got out. He left the door open the entire time. He didn't touch anything. He just that was it. You know, he's like, oh no, I think everything will be fine. And so that was the extent of him trying it. He told us we could go take the BMW for a test drive, which they completely allow. So if you change your mind while you're there, that's fine. You still have 7 days to return it though. And so he goes, honestly, he's like, you can go take it for a drive, or you have 7 days to return it. So if you just want to, you know, just go now, like just go home. Here, you have all the paperwork, you have everything you want, just go. You can leave, like everything's done, you know? So we didn't even test drive it. We were like, okay, we'll just jump in the car and we'll go home. And so we were there for 20 minutes and we exchanged the cars, got the new car, and we started our 3.5-hour trip back home. And we were not disappointed. We, on the way home, 3.5 hours is a good time to know if you picked up a dud or not, and it was actually a really, really good car. It sounds fantastic. So with that, after getting off the lot and doing all of that stuff, we brought it, I think 2 days after we got it, to a BMW specialist, not at one of the dealers. It's a separate guy in town that we found who just specializes in fixing BMWs and stuff. So we had him do just a full inspection of the car, and that cost us like $160, which, I mean, you're buying a $20-something thousand car, $160 isn't bad to make sure you're not getting a dud. So he checked it. So with that, he couldn't find anything that was immediately wrong, especially with like the engine and things like that. He obviously has recommendations. It is a 2014, so I mean, it's kind of old, I guess. But you know, just things that eventually will need to get replaced and done, but nothing that was like broken, exploding, or leaking, if that makes sense. So that we feel really, really good about. I would say some complaints that we did find though was they did not factory reset the BMW computer system. So when we were driving, we noticed as we were scrolling through, because we've had BMWs before, we've had we've had a 3 Series and a 5 Series. But in the computer, it'll show you when your oil is getting low, when it needs to get changed. It'll show you tire pressure, all this stuff. They didn't reset that. And so it was showing that our brake fluids haven't been changed. Our oil hadn't been changed. But that stuff is supposed to be done by Carvana's people before they sell them. So we were definitely a little taken back by that. And our inspection guy also said the same thing, that it just hadn't been reset. So he cannot, I mean, you can look at it and kind of see if the oil is done and stuff, but either way, you have to factory reset. I don't know if it's a factory reset, but reset the computer in the car so that way you know when your next oil change is going to be and stuff like that. So with that being said, a rep from Carvana called us 5 days after we bought it and asked how our experience was. And so my husband told her that factory stuff hadn't been done, and we can't tell if the oil change or the oil was changed or the fluids for the brake were changed or anything like that, because the computer is saying it wasn't. And so the lady put in right away while he was on the phone I don't know what you would call claim, maybe, to get that taken care of. So we have to check back on that. We are probably going to end up having to take it somewhere and getting that all done. So whether we pay out of pocket first and then they reimburse us, we don't know, or if we wait until they do it all. But yeah, that I would say kind of sucked, because that's just like one extra thing you have to kind of like do now is do the reset and check all the fluids and stuff like that. But other than that, everything else online was as described. But like I said, we kind of know what we're choosing when it comes to vehicles. My dad had us growing up as kids looking at all this stuff, and I'd probably say I know more about cars and what to look for and not look for than my husband. So we ended up, you know, picking a car that I felt comfortable, especially after looking at the Carfax that Carvana you can view before you buy. One owner, you could see that the people took it into the BMW dealership like every year on the year exactly, you know, so you could tell that the people just took care of it. And so, yeah, there were no major issues, and I would say overall we were very fortunate. I'm going to use that word because I know there's some other people who've had bad experiences. We are very fortunate that we didn't have any problems, and it would make me actually think about doing it again. Like, I wouldn't have any hesitations at all. They gave us a really good value on our trade-in. And we put in that car before we even knew we were going to buy a car also. So like, it's not like the computer manipulated the fact that we were going to buy a car. We put it in 5 days before we even thought about buying the X3. So that was already in the system as $10,200. And so for a regular sale. So they really do give you, for us, a good value compared to everybody else. And I don't know, I wouldn't say that our car has any issues or anything right now. We're super happy with it. We love it. It's smooth. It runs well. Our inspector said it was in good shape. And so we are really happy with it. So overall, I would definitely say the Carvana experience was good. I know there are issues right now about license plates and things like that, and so we still have our other tags on. So we'll wait to see if there's any issues with that, and we will do another review if there are. But overall, our Carvana experience was great. It took us about an hour online and then 20 minutes at the store. But other than that, I don't really have any other issues, so we're very fortunate. But let me know if you have any questions, or maybe if you've had experiences with Carvana down below. And there's some other referral links down below too if you're looking to save yourself some money in some areas. But yeah, I hope you guys love this video, or like it at least, and I hope you guys check out some of my other videos. I also have some upcoming videos that are going to be great, so check those out as well, and subscribe to my channel if you wish. But other than that, thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.